All right. Well, game two is in the books. The Hurricanes take down the Islanders by a final score of, what was it, 5-3.
5-3.
And what a freaking game. This is StormWatch. The Willises are here. John, Brad. We're going to recap game two of the Islanders series. The Hurricanes with just one of the most astounding comebacks, especially in the playoffs. The Islanders have been down have had a 3-goal lead 81 times in their postseason career, and they have never given up the 3-goal lead. The Hurricanes just did it to them. So, and
in
they
the
did
playoffs.
That was from the playoffs. 81 games in the playoffs where the Islanders have had a 3-goal lead. They've never relinquished that lead. And the Canes came back and won the game in decisive fashion there at the end. But it was a bit hairy going into it. So what was your kind of emotional roller coaster, as it were, this game two here?
Yeah, it was an interesting game because, when we left off last episode, one of my cons was we were playing the Islanders game. They're making us play their game.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like we started the first period that way as well. Now, granted, shot suppression again was strong from the Canes, but Horvat made a beautiful, beautiful shot from the slot on a one-timer. Palmieri's goal was greasy, but still he earned it. And Anders Lee in the second period had a beautiful forehand to backhand as Burns. I think it was Burns was closing down on him. So I guess where I was most upset with was the fact that for that beginning stretch of the game, we weren't really putting a lot of pressure on. We ended up with 10 shots on the period, but in later periods we had more than that. And
yeah, I mean the first period was probably the most even period of them all. It didn't come out that way at the end in terms of the score. It was 2-0. That Horvat goal with 15 seconds to go. That was, I said at the time I was at the game, and so we had won game one. The house is buzzing. Everyone's going crazy. The first few minutes was all Hurricanes. The Islanders didn't get a shot until at least the first, it was 5 minutes in or something like that, maybe, probably even longer. Let me pull up my notes here. Give me 1 second.
Trying to find it.
Yeah,
at the 6:37.
Canes were up 5-0 with 4:30 into the first. Then I've got KK absolutely crushes Clutterbuck and knocks.
That was a great check. It was
the
a clean
best hit of the playoffs so far. That
best hit I think I've ever seen.
That was a monstrous hit. Shots were 6 to go with 8:59 to go in the period. So there was not much time left. And then the Islanders started to put it on late in that period. Nason and McLean with a good fight. I think Nason definitely got the better of him there. He was kind of smiling throughout.
Mm-hmm.
And then at around 6:30, the Islanders score with their first shot. That's when they had their first shot. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Later on in the period, it would become 1-0 for the Islanders. Who got that first one?
Palmieri,
like you said, yeah. So Anderson
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, at first I thought maybe it was goaltender interference, but the other angle from the other side showed that the puck was loose.
Yeah. While we're on that topic, we were going to have another guest join us. He wasn't able to join us today, but his one note that he did want me to mention on the podcast was, Freddie's, as far as potential negative things to look at. I mean, the game was a great comeback, so there's not really a lot of negatives to really take away here. But Freddie's play hasn't been quite necessarily as stellar as the regular season. One area he pointed to was kind of rebound control and pucks right around him, right?
Right.
We saw in the very first game that deflection kind of bounced underneath him and got caught kind of in between his legs. Their guy came through and tapped it in. And then in this game, the first goal of the game here, Palmieri, the puck is right around Anderson in front. There's not much separation between him and the puck, but a cover wasn't ever made.
Right.
So just one thing to kind of, maybe look to with Freddie's game. Hopefully we can see a little bit of improvement as far as that is concerned. But then, the Islanders put it on a little bit towards the end of that period, but like you said, shots were only 7-10 to end that period. Okay, Horvat then, like I said, had a little backbreaker at the end, 15 seconds to go, one-timer from the high slot. I mean, I don't fault Freddie on that one, but you'd like to see a save there, like with 15 seconds to go, or maybe Natchez can get there in time and actually block the shot or deflect it wide, something like that. But just a good play. And then the Hurricanes take a penalty early in the second period. The second period, they started strong as well, the Hurricanes did. But then they do take a penalty.
Orlov.
Yeah. And on that ensuing penalty, they end up scoring, the Islanders do. This is a really bad penalty kill by the Hurricanes here. All 4 guys on the kill collapsed right in the
Someone
corner.
lost an assignment in front of the net.
Yeah, and I don't know why they were all right there.
Yeah.
Anders Lee was left wide open in front of Anderson. And, I don't really fault Anderson on that one either, but one of them you would like to see a save on, I guess.
Yeah.
That being said, he was definitely better than Varlamov as far as the end of the game was concerned.
Yeah.
At this point in the game, when it was 3-0, the Hurricanes were playing really well, but the life was pretty much sucked out of PNC. There was not a lot. I mean, the energy was so high at the beginning of the game, and then with each successive, goal of theirs, it goes down a little bit more. But the Canes are still playing well, so there's people in the crowd who are trying to get it going. And luckily, Varlamov is actually the guy who gets the Hurricanes back in the game. He takes a stupid penalty, trips Nason in front of the net. Nason, one of the best, net front guys in the league, and he gets tripped by Varlamov, and that gives them the Hurricanes power play, and Teuvo capitalizes. Really nice play by Gensel. He picks up a rebound from, I can't remember who had the shot, but picks up a rebound and slides it over to Turbo, who makes no mistake and puts it in the wide open net. So
great play by Gensel.
Yeah, really great. I mean, he's so smart. To have the poise to do that in just how fast the game is, right? Like, my first instinct would be, okay, I collect the puck, and then maybe there's a caress, backhand, forehand, just to make sure I've got the puck, right? But immediately in one touch, he puts it over to Teuvo. He's just so aware at all times of where the puck is, where everyone else's stick is. He's so smart.
Every time I saw that play, I was just thinking to myself, that was really the only positive thing he could do with that puck.
Yeah,
because he was actually kind of reaching, I don't know, over someone's hip to get to it.
He's so smart.
It's a great play by Gensel. Very heady play.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say before we go on is I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that Svechnikov was on the Aho line to start the game.
He was, and for most of the game he was on that line.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think it worked out fine. I mean, the Jarvis line was certainly good. Jarvis, Stahl, and Martinook. We know that line can work, right?
Yep.
Especially with Jesper Fast out, changes things a little bit as far as the personnel. When did Brett Pesce get injured in this game? Because that's definitely a negative, but I do want to get to the positives as soon as possible. So let's go ahead.
All I know is he didn't come out for the second.
He didn't come out for the second?
Right.
So it was there at the end of the first.
Oh, wait a minute.
No, he didn't come out for the third.
Third, right. Didn't come out for the third.
Yeah.
Lower body.
Yeah, I don't even know. I still don't know what the play was or what. I missed it. So.
Me too.
But it's not looking good, apparently. So that's Canes fans, something to think about going forward. I mean, obviously we've got Tony DeAngelo, and I thought his last 2 games he played pretty well, but
he did.
Certainly no Brett Pesce.
Yeah. So it's a trade-off, right? You're going to get some puck movement with Tony, more speed on the rush, but you won't get the lockdown defense, and maybe that's what we need. So. I'm sure that Tony will do okay. I think the team will rally. What we can't afford is another injury because we're kind of. Especially on the D line.
What do you do? Bring Morrow in, or you probably go with Dylan Coughlin? But
no, bring Morrow in. I would definitely bring Morrow in.
Yeah,
unless you need more physicality.
He's just got more NHL games. He's more, He's been with the system a little longer. Not that he's playing the system with his AHL team, because we don't freaking have an AHL team.
No. So
okay, that's the negative. What other negatives on this game do you got? Because they pretty much end once that first goal for us goes in the net, right? And even prior to that, we had many positives. We're out shooting them by a large margin. Aho had hit the post prior to us taking that penalty and giving up the third goal. Like, my buddy was at the game with me, and he was saying, Aho's not doing anything. I'm saying, you're not watching the game. He is doing something, right?
Yeah, Aho came alive this game. It's by far night and day versus the first game.
Yeah, he definitely had his struggles the first game, but this game it wasn't that at all. He hit the post at least twice, I believe, before he finally scores later on in the game.
I think early on in the game he had a bad pass, but that was really the only negative I saw from him. I think it might have been as he's coming across the blue line, he had another float, what I call a floater pass. It just kind of floats nice and slow over the top of the ice because he's mishit it somehow. Partial whiff, I guess.
I mean, when you play as much ice time as him, you're going to have a bad pass every now and then.
Yeah. The other thing I noticed was Horvath was making himself known today.
Yeah, he had a good game.
He scored the second goal, but on bookending that goal was a breakaway for a shorty, and then he had another chance on a breakaway.
Yeah, it was like on a two. I'm not sure if it was him on a 2-on-1, but there was another 2-on-1. Freddie made a couple good saves in this game.
Yeah.
He didn't have to make a ton. Like I said, maybe his play could have been better, but all right, let's get into the positives, because as soon as we scored that goal, I felt like, oh, it's back on. This game is totally winnable.
I did too. Especially because it happened in the second period. Plenty of time
I was like,
left.
oh, this is a 50-50 game, because we had been outplaying them so bad prior to us, going down 3-0. We were definitely the better team. There's no question in my mind about that. They just took advantage of their opportunities, which is what good teams do. And the Hurricanes had to create significantly more opportunities, and eventually they did.
Yeah, and okay, so early on in the game, that was one thing I said to myself: just start throwing the puck at the net. We got to get some greasy goals.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. And that's kind of how Islanders started their scoring. They were just throwing. They got two greasy goals in this game, or in the crease. I found out.
I mean, I don't know how greasy it is when it's on the power play, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. It was.
Yeah.
It's down in front. It's a bing bang play.
Yeah. Exactly. So I found where Aho. It was the first matching minors. With Barzal hooking, and then Pesci grabbed Barzal's stick. Aho, and then I have a note here: Aho turnover, bad pass, and that was it. He was back. It's like I think he realized he better get his shit together, because they were walking away with this series or this game.
I mean, I think every line was good tonight.
Yeah.
Even the KK Turbo Natchez line, like it didn't have a ton, but there were definitely some good moments. They were good, yeah, right. Like, I mean, Turbo gets on the scoreboard. KK has a couple monstrous hits. He's in at the end of the game, mucking it up with them, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that. But yeah, I think everyone was good. I mean, even Kuznetsov had a good game. He's on
he
that
looked livelier.
Fourth line now. Yeah, I mean everyone was good. Everyone was good, and it was really good to see.
I wanted to ask you, since you were there live, did you get a good look at his puck work around the blue line? I think I sent it to you.
Oh, yeah. Where he's
that
dancing.
Was sick. I hadn't seen
I mean, the guy doesn't have a stick, but he's toying.
He's just like,
yeah.
He's like, it was phenomenal.
That was on a delayed call. So
that's right.
I believe it was 3-1 at that point. We had scored.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was on that delayed call that led to that goal. In any case,
delayed penalty.
Kuznetsov is just dancing around their guy at the blue line with the puck, just waiting for someone to make a move. We get a shot on eventually off that. I believe Slavin was the one to take that. But it was. Canes had what, five power plays? Do you have the stats?
Canes had 5.
5, yeah. We only scored on that. Must have been
according to my notes. Maybe there's
second or third one.
Yeah, 5.
But
we were 1 for 5. They were 1 for 1.
Yeah.
So that stat right there says a lot, right? We only had 1 penalty.
Yeah, because you're outworking the other team, right? You should have that many power plays when you're significantly outworking the other team.
Yeah.
What was the shot total? They had 12 the entire game.
So at one point
they
in
had
the game, John,
one shot in the last 34 minutes or something crazy like that.
Yeah, 1 shot in the last 34 minutes. So
crazy.
At one point in the game, let me find it.
Shot attempts were go ahead.
The beginning of period 3, the broadcast put a stat on the screen, and so I wrote it down. But this is the beginning of period 3.
Okay.
Shots attempted 69 to 22.
Yeah, I got the total here somewhere. Where is it? Give me 1 second. 110 to 28 shot attempts in the game. 110 to 28. I gotta know what that
4 to 1
is. 25%. That's crazy.
Almost
That's
4 to 1.
That's shot attempts.
Isn't
That's
that
not
crazy?
even shots that hit the net or anything. That's how good we were last night, and they still were able to get 3 in. So that'll mistakes are costly as hell in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They really, really hurt you. Everything is just magnified to 10. But yeah, the Hurricanes, after they got that first one, the pressure was on. The foot never let up off the gas. I was thinking, okay, well, we got one. We didn't get anything else at the end of that period. We didn't get anything the first half of the third period. So I'm thinking, shit. Here we go. This is one of those games where the Hurricanes just run out of gas in terms of offense and can't put enough in the back of the net, even though they're generating a ton of chances. But again, I think I said it maybe not last podcast, but the one before. It's the first time where I can sit here honestly as a Canes fan and tell you with a straight face and really, really believe it. Just trust the process. Just trust the process.
You and your process, but you're right.
I'm going because we finally have the personnel to have belief in.
There were 3 times, and I don't know if anyone makes a mention of this in social media.
You're cutting it in and
out. There's 3 times that I remember where we had so much control in the O-zone, I had to do a double take to make sure we weren't on the power play.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? We had like 5 minutes, I think, at one time, 5-on-5, but we were in the O-zone just passing the puck around.
Yeah, they were getting tired out there for some shifts. They were out there. They had guys out there for, it must have been 3-minute shifts at certain points in that game. Like it was crazy how good we were doing at just keeping it in their zone. If it would come out, it would get right back in within a matter of 15 seconds. It was on from that first goal. All they needed to give us was just a little bit of life because we knew we had been playing so well. Varlamov really messed up with that tripping penalty. He should never have done that and given us some hope.
Yeah.
And Jarvis scores. I believe it's like 9 minutes to go in the third period, something like that. Really nice goal.
Shot that was.
He goes bar down. Just a beautiful shot. Receives a pass.
I wrote down the arena goes berserk.
Up near the top of the circle from Jordan Stahl. Picks it and just takes.
Got a big break. Well, it wasn't a break.
Snaps it bar down. Just a beautiful shot. Jarvis deserves a lot of praise for this game, particularly that goal was huge.
Yeah, and
once we get that second one, right? It was 3-1. Now it's 3-2. This team has shown that they can score those goals with the net empty. And the Islanders, give them credit. They were doing a really good job of collapsing. Like there were times, particularly late in the game, where I was like, "Are we ever going to get a shot through to Varlamov?" Because there's no lanes here, right?
36 block shots to 8.
36 block shots. That's crazy. Yeah, that's amazing.
Well, if you look at it statistically, since we outshot them 4-1, it stands to reason they would outblock us 4-1.
Yep. And so let's just get right to it.
So a couple things.
Yeah, so go ahead.
I was going to say, what was I going to say? Couple things. Stay with Anderson? Yeah, I think so too. And then
Unless he's tired
And
or
then
injured, but he's got a 3-day break, so I can't imagine that to be the case.
I think I stay with the same lines too. I think they worked well.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a little different because you don't have last change, right? And so that's definitely a big element. Look for the Islanders to try to really exploit that this upcoming game. I mean, I think they have to if they're going to try to pull a victory out of here. But yeah, with the way that they kind of just collapsed and fell apart, it's only 2 games, but it.
I know what I was going to say.
It's over. It's over.
Jarvie had that great shot. It's 3-2, but Dobson scores, but it's nullified on a high stick.
Yeah, and I knew right away. As soon as
I didn't see it right away until they showed the highlight, and I'm like, okay, that's on the other end of the ice.
And then when 3 Hurricanes players and Freddie, and then the goal, and then you look over at the referee. The referee right away called it.
Yeah,
no goal, right? So I was confident.
Yeah,
the refs usually don't make
game,
that call unless they're 100% sure on the ice. They'll defer back to looking at the video.
So
but yeah.
I don't know.
But that was like one of their only shot attempts in the third period.
Right, you're right.
Yeah, so
does that count as an attempt?
No, because
I guess it would.
That's a good question. I don't think it would.
Yeah, I guess it would count. It's just like a blocked shot. Maybe not. Maybe it just nullifies the whole play.
I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea if the high stick is deemed as a shot. I don't think so. No, the high stick.
So there's a couple things I think we should be wary of, and that is
shot attempt, and then
we only had one penalty, but there were a couple. There were a couple calls that could have gone against us.
I thought they let him play.
I think it was a tripping call.
I thought they let him play, and I thought it was fair.
Yeah. It was, but you never know on any given night whether they're going to start clamping down or, like Martinook, when he scored his goal, technically, I mean, that could have been called interference.
Man, you're really pulling it apart here. This is playoff
I know,
hockey.
but the guy wasn't at the puck and hadn't even touched the puck.
He's making a play on the puck. In my eyes, if he's making a play on the puck, like his stick touches the puck before Martinook's, no? He touches the puck before Martinook.
I don't think he ever touches the puck. I think Martinook banged him off the boards and took control. We'll have to go back here. I'll look at it right now.
Yeah. That's BS. Don't tell me that you're giving any credibility to the Krylanders over here. All right, they are a bunch of babies. I mean, you saw what happened at the end of this game. They fell apart.
Yeah, I don't think just were. Yeah, I know that was bad. So we can talk about that too. That's
what I want to talk. That's why, in my eyes, this series is over. Like, if the Islanders come back from this and win this series, it is going to be the most remarkable turnover from where they're at right now. They must be feeling like shit.
So, John, you're freezing up. But anyway, during the game, when we scored the first goal, I said to myself, if we win this game, the Islanders are going to be so demoralized that the series is basically going to be over. Because they're going to say to themselves, we can't beat this team. Mm-hmm. We're up 3-0, and they beat us 5-3.
Yeah.
I think
ever in Islanders history that they've ever given up a 3-goal lead in a playoff game. Ever.
And the last time we did it was in 2006 when we won the Cup.
The last time
Game one against Edmonton, we overcome a 3-goal deficit. So, okay, so we stay with Anderson. Basically, the line we got. I vote for Tony.
Well, let's finish talking about the game.
Okay.
Because the best part of the game was the end of the game, and with how much time is left on the
clock.
Clock.
You're freezing up again.
2:25 or something like that left on the clock. Aho scores, empty net. Rod had his timeout called just prior to that, and whatever they said, whatever they drew up, it worked. Svechnikov gets a shot from the high slot. He kind of squibs it a little bit and doesn't purely hit it, but it ends up being a perfect pass to Aho, who's left all alone on the side of the net and is able to just get enough on it to elevate it up into the corner past Varlamov. And the fucking house went crazy at PNC.
I
fell back in my chair. It was that good. And then before anyone could even
9
blink,
seconds later,
Martinook puts another one in the back of the net. Islanders were just stunned, just flat out looking at Varlam. What the fuck just happened? They did not have an answer.
Yeah.
They would not have an answer. I don't expect anyone to have an answer. It was only 9 seconds later after just tying it. You could tell that once we tied it, I think most of the Islanders knew, okay, well, we're not going to beat them in overtime. Like, we saw how the last 3 periods went. There's no chance for us in overtime.
Yeah,
but
shot on goal. But you never know.
It only took 9 seconds later, and then PNC went crazy again. It was awesome. Just
it was the funniest thing.
Atmosphere. It was one of the best games I've ever been to as a Hurricane fan.
It was the funniest thing. Taking notes and watching the game at the same time, because I wrote down empty net Canes. Oh, we got a goal. Then I got empty net Islanders. How funny is that?
Yeah.
Within I'm sure it's happened, but you go from having an empty net
seconds
to
score 2 goals to
the
tie
other team
it and then take the lead
after a minute,
and then they pull an empty net, and then we score. Gensel scores just a little bit after that. So let's go ahead and talk about that goal.
I like Gensel's play there.
Yeah, I don't think he did anything. THG, I think I misread the situation, but he said that Gensel taunted him. Now, I think maybe Gensel said something.
What did he say? I didn't hear anything about it.
Slashed the entire way on his way to deliver the empty net. He's going past Nelson on the side. Nelson's tapping him on the legs, hitting him on the legs, hitting him on the legs. He shoots it in the net, hits him on the legs again. They're going up the side, hits him again. Of course he's going to turn around and say something like, "Go back to New York, you fucking loser." Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
It was great. And then Palmieri tries to rush Gensel out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Aho
comes to his rescue.
Gets him in a chokehold and just throws him down. And so, there was some penalties after that. Palmieri and Nelson get a 10-minute. They gave Gensel a 10-minute too. And then the Canes would go on to the offensive again and get some more offensive zone pressure. There was a power play. I believe the Hurricanes were on the power play after that, right? So the score was 5-3 at this point. There's, a minute and a half left in the game. The Hurricanes are going to try to score because that's what you do when you have the power play. And the Islanders, just every time the puck is held, they're doing a little bit extra. And then at the end of the game, KK's on the ice. One of their guys comes over and just pushes him in the face a couple times. He's literally just like sitting there away from the play. Then Chatfield gets jumped. Nason gets jumped again by their goon Martin. Nason with a good takedown. Nason never drops the gloves. Martin ends up dropping his gloves, trying to scramble through the referee. They all just look like a bunch of children at the end of that game. It was really, really bad. They all lost their head. Brock Nelson, Kyle Palmieri, those are their two of their biggest players. Their goon went wild at the end. I don't know who else on their team, but within the last minute of play, I looked it up, there were 15 penalty calls.
Yeah, they had 83 penalty minutes.
Yeah, so
the Islanders did.
Yeah, and the Hurricanes got a couple in there as well, matching penalties or whatever. Every single one that they gave to the Hurricanes was only because the Islanders would have went more crazy if they weren't called. There was no reason that we were being penalized other than, hey, it's the end of the game, guys. Knock it off.
So,
but yeah, that's why I think the series is over. Knock on wood here.
Yeah, Bartuzzo, Matt Martin, Cal Clutterbuck all got game misconducts at the end of the game. Cizikas and Chatfield get roughing penalties each. And then Cizikas gets a misconduct and Chatfield gets a misconduct. As we're talking about the game, and I'm reliving it kind of in my head, one guy who stood out to me, probably the best I've seen him in a while, was Jordan Staal.
Staal was good. He was very good.
He was good. He was checking. He was physical.
Yeah, Staal, Martinook, both those guys. Obviously, we mentioned Jarvis. They were very good. Svechnikov was good tonight. Aho
good game.
Gensel line. Yeah, like I said, everyone was buzzing. One of the best games I've ever been to as a Hurricanes fan.
So when's the next game?
I was there for every single game in 2006 when they won the Cup. So, this is a really good building block, confidence builder for the Canes. It goes to show you they can beat. Under any circumstance, the game is not over. Especially with a team like the Islanders.
They play Thursday night.
Come back against a team like the Islanders, a team that's used to getting a small lead and holding on to it for dear life for the rest of the game. So, just really good stuff by the Hurricanes.
Yeah, it's funny, and I hope none of our opponents is listening to this, but really that's not a good strategy against the Canes. The strategy against the Canes is to open up and
not a great strategy
the
against
ice.
Most
because
teams.
of our slower.
The reason the Islanders and the Capitals are
slower defensemen.
Yeah, the reason the Islanders and the Capitals are like two of the lower seeds in these playoffs is, that's kind of the style they employ. It's not exactly the best style.
Yeah.
Same thing with the LA Kings, similar type of thing. And again, where are they seated?
Yeah.
I believe they're wild card 2. Maybe they're wild card 1. But
it's it was good to see all of our high skilled players
that can be employed and it can definitely win you games. But the trap is not what it used to be.
I think your point's well taken. It's more of a regular season strategy than a playoff strategy.
Yeah. And so, what are your sort of predictions for next game? Because in my eyes, the Islanders can go about this 2 ways. They can try to just play their game. I think this is ultimately what they'd like to do, is just really just play their game. And because they've got the home ice advantage, right, there's going to be a couple things, mismatching lines and things like that they're going to be able to do. So they should have a slight edge in that. They're not a bad team. We saw the way that game 1 went, right?
Mm-hmm.
That game was closer than I think a lot of Hurricanes fans would like to believe. We had some better opportunities, but they had more shots in that game, no?
Yeah.
So
I still, I can't root against the Canes.
The other thing that I'm not saying I'm voting against the Canes, but
I think it'll be another game like this game. I think it'll be 5-3 or 5-4
or this thing into a physical
6-4
battle. But I don't think that that's the route that they're going to take. I mean, Patrick Waugh is a.
They're not going to go that way.
No, he's smart enough to not do that, but he's also a very aggressive guy himself. So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Oh, he's not aggressive. He hid behind padding and a mask all the time when he played.
Yeah, okay.
He had a blocker on his and a glove.
The biggest stick.
He's a chicken.
Yeah.
Okay. No. I think they're going to stick to what they've done. It's too late to try to reinvent the wheel for them. And I think that as long as we get off to a good start, or at least
let's try to get to the first goal of the game. That would be nice. Let's get the first goal of the game. That'd be nice.
That would be nice.
Right?
So
any other go ahead.
My last comment was something, you and I have been talking about next year, free agents, unrestricted, restricted. The one we haven't talked about is probably the most important one of all. And that's Rod Brind'Amour. His contract is up.
We're having some technical difficulties here. Who did you say?
Rod Brind'Amour.
Oh, he's up next year?
Yeah.
Oh, he'll resign. I'm not worried about it. But that is definitely the most important one.
It is the most important one. But
I don't think he's going to coach anywhere else. I think he really wants to bring a cup here. If his team is this good and he can maintain, this level or this level in the past 3 years level, for the next 3 years and try to win a Stanley Cup, I don't see why he doesn't. I think he'll do that.
I think he will too, but you just never know with people.
You never know. It's not done until the ink is on the paper.
I think especially if he wins a cup, his value will go up drastically, I think.
I think his value is already
it's pretty high.
Probably the highest in the league, if not, top 3. I think people really realize what a good coach he is.
Who's more valuable coach than Brind'Amour?
I mean, John Cooper's really good. I don't know if he's more valuable.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think there's anyone more valuable, but there's other good coaches in the league, right? Pete DeBoer with Dallas.
Pete DeBoer is a good coach.
Yeah, there's good coaches. Laviolette, given the right team, he can. The Rangers are legit.
He's got a team now.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not playing anybody, but They're good. They're the President's Trophy winner. So we'll see. That's all I had. That's all I had, John. I'm just excited. I'm glad we're up 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, I predict. I think we both predicted 6 games on this one.
Yeah,
I'll knock that down to 5 for sure.
No, you can't do it. You got to stick with your.
I know. I understand that. But if I had to go back, retroactively, this is 5 games for sure. I mean, if Game 3 goes anything like Game 2, maybe not with the comeback aspect, but just the domination play by the Hurricanes in terms of how much they're outplaying the Islanders. If it's anything like that, it's over in 4.
Yeah. So the Rangers are up 2-0 in their series. Did you see the Winnipeg game, Colorado game? That was phenomenal.
No, but I heard the recount. I thought it was crazy. 7-6.
Yeah, it was crazy
game 1. That's a crazy game 1.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, my confidence is through the roof. I'm so excited, for the Hurricanes. Pesce being out is a big bummer. We'll see what the ramifications of that are. We'll see what the impact on the defense is in terms of their overall play. We'll see what the lines kind of shake out to be. I just read here, Hurricanes recall.
What's his
Coghlan,
status?
Comtois,
Is he
and Ronta all
day to day or
going to be back practicing with the squad? So we'll see if any of them get any ice time. Fingers crossed. Hopefully not. I mean,
right.
I don't want to say that I'd never want to see those guys, but we've got some really good players. Let's hope that we can maintain some more health through this postseason here. Obviously we got one down, and that's a big one. So let's hopefully not lose another big one, but more than likely gonna happen.
Yeah.
So, any parting words?
Nope, nothing from me.
Go Canes! Thank you so much for listening. We're gonna try to do one of these every single episode, every single game. So, if you want to recap and just want to kind of relive and relive the way that Game 2 felt, please go ahead and share this with anyone you like, and subscribe, all that fun stuff. We will talk to you. Next game is when? Thursday? So we'll try to do a recap 25th. Thursday night. Ideally, if we can't do that, it'll come out on Friday. So thank you so much, Canes fans, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.